Welcome back to Rich Words Music, where today we're looking at this. It's the Harley Benton JA-60CC in this rather splendid shade of Seafoam Green. Now, the JA-60 is Harley Benton's take on a Jazzmaster style of guitar. It costs €179, so it's very affordable, and it's not a brand new model. But in October 2022, the brand came out with 5 pretty cool new colorways, and I decided to buy one with my own money. I went with the Seafoam Green, and I'm very happy with my choice, having just unboxed it this morning. But the other colors you could get are Lake Placid Blue, Inca Silver, Dakota Red, and Shell Pink. So 5 pretty sweet options. And what I think this guitar gives you is pretty much a gateway to the world of offset instruments. It has a few differences compared to standard Fender Jazzmaster type guitars. It has a slightly smaller body, for example, so it's going to be a really easy way in to those quirky offset guitars that many of us know and love so much. What I'm going to do in this video then is first I'll tell you about the features and the specifications of the guitar, then we'll play it in as many different styles and musical genres as we can, and at the end of the video I'll go into a bit more detail on how the guitar feels and plays, what I think about the sounds, and whether or not I think it's going to be worth your money at the end of the day, so stick around for that. We'll start with those specifications then. So the JA-60CC has a basswood body, resplendent in that seafoam green finish, and I have an off-white or mint green pickguard here, which I just think juxtaposes so beautifully with the rest of the guitar. It looks fantastic. When we come to the pickups, we also have something different to your standard Fender Jazzmaster. Now, we have 2 Roswell P90s here, although they look like Jazzmaster pickups. On a Fender Jazzmaster, you have Jazzmaster specific pickups, and you often also have a couple of little knobs up here to give you extra tonal options. Here we just have 2 P90s with a standard 3-way switch, a master volume control, and a master tone control. We also have a bridge tailpiece of the fixed variety here, as opposed to what you'd get on a Fender Jazzmaster, which would be a whammy or vibrato style bridge. Again, the slightly smaller body compared to a Jazzmaster, and if I flick it round, you can see some nice contouring on the body there. We've got very good upper fret access here as well. And if we move up to the neck, we have a really nice looking fingerboard, which is made of laurel. We have a roasted or caramelized maple neck here. We have block inlays on the fretboard, and we have a Fender approved scale length of 648 millimeters. That's 25.5 inches. Now, Harley Benton don't tell us what the frets are in terms of sizing, but to me they feel like medium jumbos. They also don't tell us what the fingerboard radius is, but it's fairly flat. I'd say it's probably 10 or 12 inches. We have a 42 millimeter wide nut here, and the neck profile is a real nice comfy C. It's not super thick, it's not super thin, it's just kind of one size fits all, and I don't think it's going to offend anybody. And moving up to the headstock, you can see that we've got that caramelized maple look on the front of the headstock too, and on the back there we've got 6 Harley Benton Clousson style tuners. So this is the Harley Benton JA-60CC then, and what I'm kind of seeing it as on first look is sort of a baby Jazzmaster, or almost like an offset guitar that's a gateway into the world of real offset guitars, if you will. It's got a few appointments that are more standard than you'd find on something like a real Fender Jazzmaster, but it should be really approachable, really playable for pretty much everybody. And what we're going to do now is play it. So I'm going to use my Hughes & Kettner Black Spirit 200 for today's musical samples. We'll start on the amp's clean channel, we'll play some cowboy chords and some folk and some indie and some pop. Then I'll kick in my Greer Lightspeed organic overdrive, we'll do some classic rock and a bit of indie as well, and then we'll head to the amp's lead channel, we'll do some harder rock, we'll try some punk rock and roll and some alternative rock, and at the end we'll try tuning this bad boy down to drop D, we'll turn on my Rev G3 distortion pedal and see if we can make the JA-60 chug. Who knows, it'll be a first, wouldn't it? Let's see if we can get that going. Enough talk then, it's the Harley Benton JA-60CC in Seafoam Green. Let's play it now and we'll speak in more detail about it afterwards. Okay then, so that was the Harley Benton JA-60CC in Seafoam Green, and I hope you enjoyed the playing and the tones. And now it's time for me to give you my full and thorough opinions about the guitar, having had it here and played it in person. Although I must admit there's a caveat, I'm still in the honeymoon period. I have to admit that at this point. So the first impressions when you open up a guitar box are always super important, and the first impressions for me here were fantastic. I got the guitar out the box and I was blown away by the Seafoam Green finish, this off-white or mint green scratch plate that just looks fantastic, the lovely rich look of the caramelized maple neck, and that laurel fingerboard. Now that was one worry that I had. With laurel boards, I'm always kind of worried before I see a guitar that it's going to look light, it's going to look dry and cracked, but this one looks really nice and dark. You know, just looking at it on the camera there, it looks like a decent dark rosewood board. And I'm on record a lot on my channel as saying that I would love to see rosewood boards instead of stuff like laurel on guitars like this, but anyway, I can live with this one and it feels like rosewood too. I love the block inlays as well, and when I picked up the guitar I was really pleasantly surprised at the weight. It's 3.25 kilograms, which is just over 7 pounds, 7.2 to be exact. So a very decent weight. It feels great to play sitting down, it feels great to get a guitar strap and stand up and rock out with it, and so my first impressions were really rather positive. Then I started to look at the build quality of the guitar and see how it had been made, and at this price point, under 200 euros, what you're really looking for is what's gone wrong. You're looking for cracks in the paint job, you're looking for things that don't work properly, you're looking for bad intonation or high string action or something like that, but I can't find anything of that on this guitar. The Seafoam Green finish has been applied beautifully across the entire body, there's no neck pocket cracks or anything like that. It looks fantastic, and in terms of the setup on the neck as well, no problems whatsoever. So I've got great intonation and action on this guitar right from the off, straight out of the box. The frets feel good, as if they've been polished well, they feel as if they've been crowned well, no rough edges or anything like that, and the caramelized maple neck with the satin finish is a joy to get up and down. When it comes to the electronics, there's no problems with crackling pots or anything like that, no issues with the switch, everything works as it should. And I guess the nuts being cut pretty well as well, because no problems with the intonation or anything like that. The guitar holds tune pretty well too, thanks to that nut being cut well, and also thanks to these Harley Benton tuners, which seem to be doing a really solid job to date anyway. Of course this guitar is ripe for modding, but at the moment I don't really feel the need to do that. Next thing to notice is the playability of the guitar, and again, I don't notice any issues whatsoever with the playability that encumbers me or makes this guitar difficult to get musical tones out of. Now it's got a slightly smaller body than a standard Fender Jazzmaster, which is going to be really practical if you're a kid or if you're a student or someone who just likes a smaller guitar. The neck itself is really comfortable, as I've said multiple times at this point, but I find it really easy to get up and down. You've got great access all the way up to the 21st fret if that's something you want. Not really that much of a problem for me. I really love the body contours. This guitar is just very, very comfortable. And again, I'm coming back to that 179 euro price tag, and I'm just really impressed with how it plays as well. And then we come to that make or break category, which is the tones. How good does the JA-60CC actually sound? Well, you've heard the sound samples yourselves already, so let me know what you think in the comments. But for me personally, this guitar and these Roswell P90s sound pretty darn good. Now, I'm not the world's biggest Jazzmaster expert, so I can't tell you how close they are to a Fender Jazzmaster. That's possibly a future comparison video that I could maybe do. However, these Roswell P90s did everything I could ask of them, and they even did a little bit more than I was expecting. Starting with the clean tones then, we got some lovely sparkly top end in those sounds, we got beautiful strummed chords, we got lovely spanky country tones, we got warm and mellow country tones. You can do it pretty much all with this guitar. And when I turned on my Fender Treverb pedal for a bit of reverb and then a bit of tremolo too, beautiful ambient sounds, noodling tones that I could just end up on for days and days and days, and I probably will after I've finished recording this video. And when we kicked on the Greer Lightspeed, I was really in my element. Now, I personally love a good P90 for raucous, aggressive indie rock tones, and these Roswells were no exception there. No matter which pickup selection I was using, I was able to get the sounds that I would want, for bar chords, for octave chords, for single notes, really great clarity across all 6 strings on the bar chords too. Really, really good. And surprisingly beefy and thick for classic rock stuff as well. I was really happy with the tones that I got from these pickups for the classic rock stuff too. And it was then, when we went up into even higher gain territory, that the guitar started to surprise me even more, because on the harder rock stuff, we were getting really nice, thick tones, really aggressive. This guitar would absolutely work for glam metal or hair metal or 80s hard rock or whatever you want to call it. And it sounds great for punk rock too. Real nice for fast palm muting. It did that Green Day Sum 41 type thing, no problem whatsoever. But that wasn't even the biggest surprise for me. That was when we tuned down to drop D and I turned on the Rev G3 and found out that this thing can actually do metal. You know, a P90 pickup is noisy, very, very noisy when you do metal and have lots of gain running through it, but it handled those tones very well indeed. It was starting to overload a little bit, but I was really pushing an awful lot of gain at this guitar, at these pickups, and it really handled it very well. If you were going to be doing a metal specific gig, I don't think you would pick this guitar, but it could do it if that's what you wanted it to do, and I think we proved that with this video. So overall then, in terms of tones, you know, this is a €179 guitar with Roswell P90s, but it did everything from warm, mellow, classic, pristine cleans, all the way through to down-tuned chugging madness. So I'm very, very happy with the tones from this guitar. So if you've been watching this video up to now and you really like the idea of an affordable offset, but you want to get something different, what else is out there? Well, I would recommend going and looking at the other finishes that you can get with the JA-60. There's the 4 other new ones, plus a couple of older ones that you can still get. There's pretty much everyone's taste covered there. There are other affordable Harley Benton offset type guitars. There's the MS-60, which is about €159 and is more like a Fender Mustang. And I actually have a dedicated video of that one if you'd like to go and watch that afterwards. And if you want to go more in the kind of Mosrite offset direction, again, with Harley Benton, you have the option of the MR Classic. And again, I have a video of that one if you'd like to watch that one after this too. But if you want to go for the real thing and you actually want the word Jazzmaster written on your headstock, then you're going to have to go Squier or Fender. Now, the current cheapest Squier Affinity Jazzmaster model costs around €230. They're pretty decent guitars. I've tried a couple of those out, so head down to your local Squier dealer, try them out, and you never know, you might like those too. Then you go up to around €400 and beyond for the Squier Contemporary and Classic Vibe Jazzmasters, and there's a number of different models and pickup options that you can choose from there. And if you've got over €700 burning a hole in your back pocket, you can go for something by Fender, and I think the cheapest player Jazzmasters will set you back around the €700, $700 mark at this point. But overall, for €179, I don't think you can go wrong with the JA-60CC. I mean, this guitar straight out of the box, it's been so fun, it feels so good, the neck is lovely, it looks fantastic, I love that seafoam green color. I could have bought 2 or 3 of the other colors from the range as well, and who knows, maybe I will in future. But these Roswell P90s are great too. It handled all of the musical tastes that I threw at it, and it could probably do a load more as well. So I'm really, really enamored with this guitar, and if you get the chance to try one out, I would really recommend that you do it, because again, value for money with this guitar is absolutely through the roof, and I am loving it right now. And just to remind you again, I did buy it myself. I hope that this video has answered all of the questions that you might have had about the JA-60CC, but if there's anything else you want to know, drop me a line down there in the comments and I shall answer it to the best of my ability. And hey, if you're still around, give the video a like or maybe even sub to the Rich Words Music channel, because that really does help me out, helps us build the little community that we're building here. But that's been it for today's video. I've been Rich for Rich Words Music, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.